This lesson builds upon the pattern programming concepts we learned in the previous lesson. It will show you how to write programs for right angle triangle patterns. In case you haven't yet watched the previous lesson of solving pattern programs, I strongly recommend you watch it and then start with this lesson. Let's start by solving this pattern. See, these stars are forming a right angle triangle. That's why such patterns are called right angle triangle based patterns. Like rectangular patterns, here also we will start by looking at the three basic things of patterns, which are number of rows, number of terms in each row, and what is getting printed in the pattern. This pattern has 4 rows. So let's write the outer loop to run for 4 times. The number of terms in each row for right angle triangle patterns varies with the rows, whereas for rectangular patterns it was constant. In this pattern, the first row has 1 star, second row has 2 star, and so on. So, for the first iteration of outer for loop, the inner loop should run only once. For the second iteration of outer loop, inner loop should run twice. For the third iteration of outer loop, inner loop should run 3 times. And for the fourth and final iteration of outer loop, inner loop should run 4 times. How should we write the inner loop so that it executes in this manner? Notice that the number of iterations of inner loop per iteration of outer loop is equal to the row number. The outer loop control variable I gives the row number. Let me show it to you by printing I. See, the value of I is 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the same as the number of times our inner loop should execute per iteration of outer loop. So if I write my inner loop like this, first let me remove this println. J should start from 1. The condition of this inner loop should be j less than equal to I and then j++. This way, the inner loop will iterate row number times for each iteration of outer loop. Inside the inner loop, I will print star like this. I will add a system.out.println after this inner loop so that each row starts on a new line. Let's execute the program now. We get the correct output. Don't worry if you are still a bit unsure about how this program is printing this pattern. I will explain you the line-by-line execution of the program with the help of this table. The outer for loop starts by initializing I to 1. Next, the inner for loop initializes j to 1. After that, this print statement prints this star. J becomes 2, so condition of inner loop is false. Program control comes to this statement and prints a new line. Now whatever we will print after this will start on a new line. I becomes 2 and second iteration of outer for loop starts. Inner for loop starts from 1 again. This star gets printed by this print statement. Remember, as we already printed the new line character at the end of previous iteration of outer loop, so this time the output will start on the next line. J becomes 2 next, and this second star is printed. After that, j becomes 3. Condition of inner for loop becomes false. Program control comes to this println statement and prints the new line character so that next output is printed on a new line. At the end of second iteration of outer for loop, we have printed the first 2 rows of our pattern. Other iterations of outer for and inner for happen in a similar way. I have provided the details in this table. I hope now you have a very good idea about the program for this pattern. Let's move on to our next pattern. This is our next pattern. It is just an inverted version of the previous pattern. Let's quickly analyze this pattern. It has 4 rows like before, but this time the number of stars in each row starts from 4 and decreases with each row so that the last row has just 1 star. This tells us that outer loop should still run for 4 iterations, but it should go in the reverse direction. I will go back to the previous program and change the outer loop accordingly. Now the outer loop control variable I should start from 4. I should be greater than equal to 1, and as we are going from a higher value to a lower value, it should decrease like this. No changes are required in the inner loop or the two println statements. Let's run the program now and see if it gives us the correct output. We got the correct output. Here is the table outlining all the iterations of inner and outer loops to print this pattern. You can go through it to get an in-depth understanding of this program in the same way as I showed for the previous example. Let's move on to our next pattern. We will solve this pattern now. Let me quickly add a new class with main method for this pattern. The number in each row are the row numbers and they are increasing from 1 to 5. Let's write the outer loop for this. The outer loop will run from 1 to 5. The inner loop will run from 1 to I like this. As the numbers in each row are the row numbers, we will print I inside the for loop. Don't forget to add system.out.println after the inner loop. With that, our program is ready to print the pattern. Let's run it now. As you can see in this output, the program is correctly printing the pattern. Here is the execution table for this program for your reference. Next pattern is this. The number of rows and number of terms in each row of this pattern are the same as the previous pattern. The only difference is in what is getting printed in each row. I will go back to the code of the previous pattern. Here, these outer and inner for loops will remain the same for this pattern. We just need to figure out what we should print in place of I here to get this pattern. The first term of each row is 1. Last term is the row number and terms inside the row are incrementing by 1. This sounds same as how j is incrementing. It starts at 1, goes till the row number and increments by 1 in each iteration. So, if we replace I with j like this, we should get this pattern. Let's check by executing the program. Wow, we got our pattern so easily. Our next pattern is this. I will quickly add a new class with main method for this pattern. This is an inverted triangle, meaning number of terms in each row are decreasing as we come down. The first term of each row is the row number and last term is 5. If you see the first term of each row, it is increasing from 1 to 5. So, I will write the outer for loop like this. I will start at 1 it will be less than equal to 5 and it will increment by 1 in each iteration. After this, in inner loop, j will start from I. That's because the first term of each row is the row number. Condition will be j less than equal to 5 as last term of each row is 5 and then j plus plus. Inside the inner loop, I will print j. And as always, add system.out.println after the inner loop. Let's run the program now. It gives the correct output. This is our next pattern. I will quickly add a new class for this. This pattern is also an inverted triangle with 5 rows. The first term of each row is 9 and last term of each row starts at 1 and goes till 9, increasing by 2 with each row. If I run my outer loop like this, loop control variable I will start at 1, I will be less than equal to 9 and I will increment by 2 in each iteration. Then I will give me this last term of each row. Let me show it to you by printing I inside the loop and executing the program. As you can see in the output, I is giving the last term of each row. I will remove this print statement. Coming to the inner loop, all rows are starting with 9, so I will initialize j with 9. We already saw that I is giving the last term of each row. So the condition of this for loop will be j greater than equal to I. As the loop is going from higher value to lower value, so we need to decrement j. By how much should we decrement j? The difference between successive numbers in each row is 2. So we will decrement j by 2. Inside this inner loop, I will print j. Lastly, I will add system.out.println here. And with this, the program is complete. Let's run it now. The program correctly outputs the pattern.